just sit there, bask in the euphoria. Thank you so much, Canadian Film Festival! Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Film Fest Q&A for Shorts Program number 1. Glad to have you here. Over here, maybe over there is Ashley Rains.
Hi, everyone.
And yeah, we're just here with the people who made the amazing film Plush that started off our segment. So we've got AJ and Spencer, Alex, and Ambrose here. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
No problem.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. AJ, you want to introduce everybody in their roles?
I would be beyond excited too. So we have Ambrose Garcia, who is the animator, and he did and I don't just mean animation, I mean like sketches, the color. He did everything that was animated was Ambrose, and then his partner in crime was Alex Kingsmill, who did all the compositing and visual effects. So those are the shadows, making sure that it actually looked like those animations were licking Sweet Lucy, and then of course Spencer Cragen, who just brought the emotion to life with that beautiful score that he just put together, because the guy's a wizard.
That's so cool. Thank you all for being part of the festival lineup, for making such a great movie that in only, is it a minute and a half?
It's about, yeah.
Wait, right? Like 2 minutes?
46 seconds and then credits.
That's right. And this is what I love, when filmmakers are able to tell a story no matter how much time they have. And was that born out of necessity? Because I know animation takes a lot. So did you make it purposefully short so you can get as much cool animation in, or how does that make you develop the story?
Originally, I was actually collaborating with a team called Blink Twice, who were running these Instagram films that were only 1 minute long. They were all meant to be redirection films. Charlie Hamilton and I made 2 together, and while we were doing it, I was like, it's so cool if you can get like a story and a feeling across in a minute or 2 minutes, and shock people in the same way. Like, what a neat tool and way to communicate a story. And so when we were thinking about it, I was talking to them about it. And in the original iteration, we were going to have real animals. The taxidermy was always going to happen. So I had to get real animals, and then those real animals had to match the taxidermy. And then I started sitting back, and one of the Blink Twice writers was like, what would happen if it was all animated? I was like, I'm not animating an entire movie, but what if we created just animations at the beginning? And so just saying that sort of spiraled my writing into what it became. And I had no idea what I was doing. I'm still not entirely certain how it all came together, because I had met Ambrose through a friend, and I was like, I just want to do this animation thing. And he was like, and it's, if anyone's ever done animation, especially 2D based sketch animation, it is not an easy feet. And of course, it's not 90 seconds of animations, it's 30 seconds, or 16 seconds of animation. And even still, it is such an incredible, it takes so much time and detail. And the beauty of Ambrose's work is you can zoom in on those pets down to the fibers of their hairs, and they are all sketched, and it's all there in the detail.
Wow, that's so great. But as a producer by trade, what were you thinking? You want animation, you want kids, you want...
Oh, I was a nightmare. No. I've never written a script on my own before, and I'd never directed anything. And I called Gina and Charlie and Zach, and I was like, okay, listen. So it's got a little kid, and she's going to play with animations. But of course, the animations won't be there on the day, obviously. So she has to play with her imagination. So we have to put a green screen in, and then there's a misdirect halfway through. Can I do this? And Gina was like, are you nuts? I was like, mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Ambrose, how was that when she told you what she wanted to do? Then how did you figure out even the style, which really spoke to me? I love that more. I thought it was more like an old-fashioned style, which obviously makes sense with the character. Is that how you approached it?
Right. Well, when AJ and I first initially talked about it, and she pitched a story to me, I was just in love with the story itself, and what she was trying to say with the story, and what she was trying to accomplish in just a very condensed amount of time, as you mentioned. And but then we started talking about style and everything, and know, yeah, we were trying to go for that classic 1960s Disney type of animation, you know, with where it still has like that sketchy, loose, you know, feel to it, like where it's not too clean and everything. So that's what we were trying to go for as far as style. But yeah, it just came from that initial conversation. And I mean, like I said, I just love the story and the message that she was trying to say. So that's I was just like, yes, 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 you know.
So where did music then come into the process? You have story, you have the idea for the animation, and then you have this beautiful score that elevates the story.
So much of when I was in production and I was doing prep, I created a playlist for myself, and the whole movie is really built off of the films that are near and dear to my heart, which are things like Anne of Green Gables and Shirley Temple films, and just the like really bubbly, super confident, imaginative young girls. And so I called Spencer, and we went over, we did a spotting session, and I just sort of handed him my Spotify list, and we just talked about feeling and emotion. And then I kid you not, I walked away, and I think 3 days later he was like, I got something, but I'm not sure. And I was like in tears. I'm like, don't change a thing.
That's awesome. So
right, Spencer?
Yeah, you want to speak to the music a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when AJ first told me about the film, I started weeping, and I was like, okay, well, that means if this is how it's working already without music, we got to make sure the music doesn't take that away from that, because that's always the big thing, is if the movie works without music, it's always really afraid. It's always really worrisome to start putting music in that. You start worrying like, oh God, is the music going to do too much? So we were really focusing on the Shirley Temple, Mary Poppins type of sound, but then we wanted to add a bit more of that sort of darkness without going into tragedy, and that was sort of what we were trying to balance, is how do we get tragic music that doesn't sound tragic, or fluffy music that doesn't sound really innocent. And trying to find that balance was hard. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we talked about ideas of we talked about sorry, AJ. Yeah.
No.
Sorry,
I was just gonna say the transition we talked about was probably the most challenging in our process, was how you go from that little girl's world and you pull out, and all we had was about like a second and a half to move it into a different world. And it was really important to me that people didn't walk away feeling like I just made a like kind of a thriller tragedy.
Yeah, you want it to feel real. You want it to feel, and that's a lot where Alex comes in, right? Alex, because AJ told me before, you did all like shadows and you made sure things looked like they were actually being affected by the animated characters. So
yeah,
how was that process?
I mean, it was pretty straightforward. I've never done anything that was specifically 2D mixing with like live action stuff. But there's a really great documentary on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I loved that movie as a kid. So I watched that and just like kind of took notes on how they put that together and tried to use a more modern approach, I guess.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for being part of our lineup this year. We're thrilled to have you. Go make some more movies for us.
Thank you.
I love programming animated movies.
Making it.
Thank you so much.
Good. I'm glad you did. I'm gonna 1 sec. I'm gonna bring in the next group of people into our viewing audience out there. Just give us a moment. We're going to drop a curtain, and we'll be right back. Okay. Until then, we'll see you soon. Bye, plush people.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everybody. We're back. We're back with the cast and crew of Joey, the second short that we played today. Welcome, guys. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Jessica, maybe you want to go around and introduce everybody and their roles in the film.
Sure. We'll start with Lucy Guest, who's in the gorgeous blue shirt, who played Joey. And then we have Jessica Harris, who played Sandra. And she actually got to play 2 versions of Sandra within the film. The very overzealous bridesmaid and then the poet who fell. And then we have Daniel Stolfi, who is Dan the Man and has got all the moves, who played Trey.
Yeah, that was Ashley and I haven't watched this movie for months because we watch in the submission process, and I was watching I think it was actually the first movie I watched, and I was just right away when I watched it the first time, I'm like, this is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. I freaking love it. We have to show this. And I was just reminded today about how really surreal it is. And I love that because that really, to me, helped me understand the character, what was actually going on, and nothing really ever completely makes sense. I think life is just a big, messed up, pile of nuts and bolts, and we're trying to put everything together and nothing really fits, but we keep going forward. And that's how I connected with that main character.
And especially in moments when you endow these life moments with so much meaning, and then you take a step back and you're trying to really look at it, and it all seems so bizarre, even the way we commit to formalities and traditions and roles on the day. So Jess, where did this come from?
My brain. I think the last 5 years for me have felt surreal because of my own sort of stuff that I was going through with my health journey, and but also very hilarious moments too, and in places where I least expected it, like from the nurses or doctor or whoever it was that I was dealing with, and just sort of you feel like, okay, I'm gonna wake up now. How did I get here? What am I doing? And you place so much value on so many things until you kind of get woke. Yeah. And hashtag YOLO. No, I'm kidding. And so with Joey, she just kind of started to live in my brain, and I really wanted to just show how you can keep trying and you can keep putting all of this value on stuff that really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. Do I want to be here? Is this where I'm supposed to be? And the universe kind of just keep reminding you, no. And then you deciding, okay, well, I'm going to keep going anyway and see where this leads me.
And I guess you were also really lucky in being able to cast I'll just say 3 because there are 3 of you here, but everybody was so funny. Yeah. So funny, but really keeping on with that serious message of looking to see what makes sense in your life. So Lucy, how did you navigate that? Keep it funny, but also your character's going on in a very important journey, but you were still so funny.
Thank you. I think just exactly that. Keep trying to for it to feel real, basically, so that these moments are surreal and weird and don't really make sense, but they kind of do. And having her journey have a purpose and actually feel kind of grounded for her, I think grounded the craziness of it all, or the surrealness of it all, is what I'm sort of trying to do, come at it from sort of a real place, I guess.
Yeah, because the more grounded it is, the more the jokes are going to land. And
yeah, I think that's.
And I don't even want to say jokes. It's more just observations on how messed up life is. My favorite book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it will be forever, because it tells you that the universe is messed up. Just try and have some fun, right? And this is what this movie reminded me of.
I know. It looked like Daniel and Jess Harris, you had no fun on set that day.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
So boring.
I was dancing like that. I mean, I didn't have to do anything.
That fantasy wedding looks like it would be a really good time.
It was the first shot of the day. That's how we started, and was having everybody dancing. And Dan picked his song, which was Daft Punk's, what was it?
Lose Yourself to Dance.
Yeah, and we all lost ourselves in Dan's dancing.
I forgot how funny that was. It was Dan, like, you've got some moves. Like,
Hey.
I don't want to look at you, but I can't not.
Hey, Jess saw some of the moves obviously somewhere and then said, I need those moves in this film. And I said, no problem.
Class on those moves, like somebody has to. She just got in.
Yeah. There's always one guy at the wedding, or
Yeah.
he happened to be the groom.
It actually isn't how the film was supposed to start, but how I had written it. We didn't have the budget for, nor were we able to source the age range because they were a little bit older. And I remembered from seeing Dan's one-man show, Cancer Can't Dance Like This, where he's got moves. And so I called him and I said, how would you feel about dancing instead of having anybody leading you down the aisle? And he said, I've been waiting for somebody to ask me to dance. Yes.
I believe that.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing your film with us at the Canadian Film Fest this year. An absolute delight just seeing it in the submissions, where we get a lot of dark submissions. So yours was just a great way to start off my submission viewing, and to have it in the lineup today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for you guys both totally got it. So that's amazing.
It was so funny.
Congratulations. This is also Jess Hingston's directorial debut, so we'll say special congrats to that too.
Congrats. That's really well done then, considering all the surreal elements, and you still kept on with that actual message of her trying to find her way through life. And like, wow, that was really good, Jess. So good. So good to all of you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
To our viewing audience, one sec, we're going to grab the next batch of filmmakers. Until then, bye, Joey, cast and crew.
Bye.
Bye.
Festival.
We're back with the cast and crew of Liminal. Guys, how are you doing?
Great.
Good. Thank you so much for being here.
And
Dan,
everyone, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Dan, can you go around and introduce everybody in their roles?
Yeah, I think I remember. Hi, I'm Dan Abramovici. I'm the writer-director. Elspeth McCall produced Liminal and did a million other awesome things. Ian is our cinematographer, and Aaron Poole is our lead, one of our 3 lead actors in the film.
Cool. Great to have you guys here, and an astounding short film.
Thank you.
Every single frame was another vivid, moving painting. And how long did it even take you to figure out every single shot? Because it seemed to me like there was so much thought put into every single camera placement, light placement, everything.
Every beat, every performance, everything.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan. Let's talk this through.
Where to start?
Yeah, thanks. I kind of was thinking about this story for a long time. I'd say at least a good year before we shot. And then Ian and I, many happy months in his living room / kitchen, working through ins and outs of shots, through kind of what's possible. Pre-production was a number of months. Elle, what do you think?
4.
4.
4 and a half,
we only had a 2-day shoot, so sorry, that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true. It's
What?
4 days.
4 days, geez.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we there wasn't a lot of time to waste, so they definitely had a lot of pre-planning for everything.
Yeah, it was a bit of a chicken and the egg scenario too, because we had the script, we had what the scenes wanted to do, and then we would end up with a location, and then the location was like, okay, well, this will dictate what that can do. And so there were certain changes as we were thinking about it. So we would go see a location, come back, and it's like, oh, that can't happen there anymore. The camera needs to be moving left to right, for example. Well, in order to do that, there needs to be a door there. And just, we would kind of try to redesign the movement of the film based on the locations, based on our original concept of how the film should work.
Wow. Wow. I can't
And
believe
then go ahead, Fern.
No, you go ahead.
Then the physical movement of the actors and the dancers, where did that come from? I mean, like, the physicality is gorgeous. Aaron, the way you take on the dance, but then also the dancers in the film. Where did that come from? How did that come to be? What was the process there?
Oh, sorry, Aaron, did you want to?
That's you. That's a choreographer.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I owe a huge thanks to Sean Brackey and Matteo, all our dancers, for doing an incredible job of just interpreting. I was very lucky with this film to work with people who are amazing at what they do. So with Sean and Matteo, we're like, this is kind of the feel of the choreography that we want, and then they optioned a whole lot of amazing stuff. The idea of kind of breaking from reality into this kind of surreal dance to kind of, I guess, evoke the ephemeral or dive into Steve, the Darren Poole character's psyche a little bit. Like, that is one of the things that really excited me about making this movie, of really kind of running current time, past and future concurrently, and making it feel like this revolving door. And so finding the right people who can help make that happen, so it wouldn't feel like a total break in the reality, and feel kind of like an organic kind of flow, that was super important. And for that, everything is, you know, the actors, Ian, and our incredible dancers.
And I think you really did achieve just that, because to me it was such a fluid, like, it was a visual poem that had one story after another story after another story that just kept informing the story, the bigger story, and you just get sucked into Aaron's. Though that's kind of cheating too, by the way. Aaron's just good in everything, Dan. So maybe it wasn't all you, but you know, but it was that. It was just, I got sucked into your character, Aaron. Like, just, I needed to know where that was going, and I was scared that it wasn't going to go in a good place. And then I was like hopeful. So how did you navigate that to, you know, keep the viewer guessing where you're going?
I mean, I think for I mean, the journey is scripted, and that's Dan. And you know, to be invited into sort of that track, I realized that we really had to, almost more so than any other film, just focus on what the emotional reality was of every little beat, and trust that it would be stitched together by Ian and Dan's sort of architecture, and like the number of months and the amount of time that Elsbeth and the two of them were able to sort of prep. And I knew too that I couldn't really gauge how much the dance would support the character's emotional journey, but I knew that it would. My sister's a ballerina in Europe, and dance is probably my favorite art form. And so I knew that I just had to be present, and then the rest would just kind of follow. And I'm really proud of what Dan accomplished with this, like naturalism and kind of the abstraction of dance together.
Yeah, the dance really did add a lot. I know that Ashley studied at National Ballet School of Canada.
Oh, cool.
For quite a while, so she mentioned that to me as well. How that struck her and how much it added, and that's one thing that just blew me away. That added the dancer's fluidity, added to the story's fluidity, and that literally just swept me away. Well, not literally, but it did actually sweep me away, and just astounding, guys. Just welcome back, first of all.
Yeah.
And right.
Welcome back to Ian as well. Ian, yeah.
Always happy to be here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I just hope you guys keep making movies like this, because that was just amazing. So what are your next steps with this movie, or with anything else you might be working on?
We were just talking about that in our breakout room.
Awesome.
Dan?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks. And it's really good to be back at Canadian Film Fest, and it's really, really cool that you guys pulled this off. I mentioned this to you privately, but publicly, it's really, really cool. Yeah, I'm writing a couple of features. One is feels very much like the next step of the kind of liminal journey. Playing with some of the themes and motifs in this film. The other one is something totally different. I also have a couple of shorts in the pipes, and yeah, obviously I'm very, very hopeful that I get to work with this team again. Not just this team, but if I may, because I just remembered and I don't want to forget, we have an amazing cast and crew: Emily Pigford, Vlad Alexis, composers, Spencer, Chris Rainick, and I can't tell you how much I owe Mike Rasiker, our editor. I've spent so much time with him, and we experimented a lot and worked this a lot, and I can't think of a better post partner than Mike. So if you're watching this and you want an editor who's going to really take your vision to the next level, yeah, talk to Mike.
So beautifully edited, so well edited. I completely agree. And editors don't get enough big ups, so
no,
very nice of you, Dan. Okay, that said, I just want to now say thank you for being part of the lineup this year. It was such a strong addition to our lineup, so I hope to see more of you. Like I said before, I do hope to see more from you guys very soon, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Maybe another feature, so you can win another best feature at the CFF.
Thanks, buddy.
Dan won for Ben's at Home in 2014.
I have the thing here. Yeah, 2015.
2015.
2015. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, this is a different film.
Yes. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna just say goodbye to you in just a moment let the people out there in internet land know that we will be right back. And until we do, I'm gonna say bye to the Liminal cast and crew. Bye, guys.
Bye.
And thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
having
Thanks,
us.
guys.
Thanks so much, guys.
Hi, everybody. We're back. I'm Bern Euler, and over here, maybe over there, my co-host Ashley Rains.
Hey, I'm Ashley, and welcome Fazila to the Canadian Film Fest.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. And congratulations on an incredible short film. You coming into this film had a really specific vision for it. Can you tell us how this story came to be?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to tell like a different story about Afghan women, and a story where women take that really first step to escape and run away from patriarchy and this notion that women represent men's honor. So that was very interesting for me, and it's a topic that I'm very passionate about. So I explored basically 2 years spending researching in my master's program on the topic. And it came to be about moral crimes, which are, these bad characters giving for women who run away from abusive marriages and who run away from domestic violence, and women who, take that step to file for a divorce, and women who fall in love. So these are all moral crimes, and I wanted to make a film about it to actually help youth speak about this topic, which is very taboo in our culture. So yeah.
So on that, with this is one thing that I wanted to ask you about, is just what you said now. It's taboo to talk about. So how does one, in whether it's in Afghanistan, whether it's in any of those surrounding areas, or anywhere in the world where this is going on, how is a good way to bring that up in those places versus what you're doing here? Because I imagine doing a movie like this would probably be frowned upon, to say the
Yes,
least.
exactly. So in Afghanistan, it still remains a very traditional country, and it's conservative. It's really taboo to talk about these topics. And so for me personally, I feel like arts, journalism, activism, these are like a really great tool for inspiring change in a society. So that's why I made this film, to just like open up a conversation, and maybe like our activists and human rights activists are already pushing to advocating for banning moral crimes in Afghanistan. So it's a really like a very critical situation. So I think I see it as a path for a woman to just speak about their own rights, and until they know like how to start that within their families, and kind of like change the system.
Yeah, and you mentioned moral crimes. Is that what they're like? Is that pretty much a literal translation of how? Like, because to me, what you said earlier is that a woman represents a man's honor. I'm like, what? No, they don't. No, I do. I take care of that, and that's an easy way out, I think, for people predisposed to violence, males predisposed to violence. So is that, how do you change that thinking?
So I feel like for women it all starts from within. Like it starts from home, like doing domestic chores. Like you don't have to do it, ask your partner to do it and take part. So the culture is so like traditional, because all these women, the sense of honor killings are really in the country. It's still like people, men do it, so for these women to actually, it's really hard, but they know that women who I met in this prison, they were all like outspoken about like their rights. Like they didn't want to be here, they wanted to actually like file a divorce, and they ended up here. So and these prisons are very like formal and like a new notion phenomena in major cities. Like in villages, etc., honor killings are still active. So like it was under the Taliban. So if a woman tries to, it's the man who should divorce woman, and without his permission, a woman can't run away from her family, right? So these are very medieval and very like barbaric system that existed from very long time ago. Actually, it started from Judaism, Christianity, and in Islam. And since the war in the country, it still remained at like very old traditions are still practiced. So it's a long way to change that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sobering. And but I am definitely, I'm happy that you're able to make a movie like this, so that you can bring it to the attention of everybody. And that's one small step. And if everybody keeps doing that, I think definitely, like you said, it can spark and inspire change from within. So thank you.
Sure. I have shown this film in Afghanistan, and it was very well received. Of course, like when you show a film like this in film festivals, obviously like conservative people attack the festival, or make it like, oh, these Western filmmakers came back to make these things against our values. So it's really best for me to show this film in constitutions, like schools, universities. So when I released this film, I went back to Afghanistan and shown it in a college. It was France Institute. And it was very well received. It opened a lot of like conversation about it, because actual people of Afghanistan, most of them are concerned about these conditions of women inside the prison. And they have to do something about it, because it's a post-Taliban society now. We have democracy and we have a government who have a human rights section. So these, I feel like the moral crimes should be banned forever. And the women themselves are like the first step to take that, to voice out their oppressions.
Definitely. Definitely. Well said. So thank you for being part of the CFF this year, Fazila. It was it's an honor to be able to show a movie like that with such an important message. So thank you.
I just wanted to thank my cast and crew
Most
for
definitely.
me make this film, and it was a very great collaboration of non-actors with actual prisoners, and we filmed everything on location. So it was a very tough shoot, but challenging and very emotional one for me. So it's great that I presented now in Canada.
Excellent. Good. Well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
So thank you very much to Fazila for the showing The Red Bicycle at the CFF 2020 is presented by Super Channel. And stick around. We're going to be right back with the next batch of filmmakers. Hi, everybody, and we're back. We're back with some cast and crew of 20 Minutes to Life. This is my co-host, as always, Ashley Rains. Ashley.
Hello, and welcome to the 20 Minutes to Life cast and crew. Can you all introduce yourselves to us, please?
Yeah, my name is Veronica Kurtz. I'm the director, writer, and producer of the film.
Oh, I'm Eden Gilmore, and I play Olivia in the film.
Hi, I'm Sarah Houghton, and I play Zoe.
Welcome. Veronica, where did you get the idea for this really funny short film?
Thank you so much. So the film came about, so when I was a kid, I was always like the straight A, good kid, that person. And so when I was in grade 2, I hadn't had a detention yet. And so this film came from my experience of having my first detention, which was my friend and I were squeezing a bottle of grape juice to see how high up the straw could go. One of us, I'm not sure who, squeezed too hard, it got all over her shirt. And so she ran.
We've all been there. Yeah.
Right.
I remember that.
And so she ran and told on me. And I would like for me, the idea of being a bad kid or in detention was just such a devastating idea. Like I thought my life was going to be over. So the teacher, was asking me what happened, and I'm just crying so hard I can't explain. Yeah. And then I had my first detention, which was not that bad at all. Like you just go and rest in the library during recess. Like it's not as bad. So from that moment just sort of came that like, well, why was this such a traumatizing idea, and just playing with the childhood imagination of going to prison instead of
I like how you made time seem like it was going so slowly,
Mhm.
because when you are a kid, it is going that slowly.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Even Sarah, when you get older like us, everything goes so quickly. It's like you're frantically grasping onto moments because you know how all of a sudden they're just going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but you guys did a great job of being in there. And how was that like working with an adult who's telling you how to be a kid? And what was that give and take, and how did you figure out how you were going to portray your characters?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I knew that I would be scared if I got detention too, and so I just kind of went into that like, I feel like I'm the person that would overreact too, so it was really good to like kind of put me and her together to create that like effect. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the same. Like I couldn't even imagine going into detention. And so I kind of had to think the opposite. Like when you see those kids, when you go into detention, they've been there for so long. Just try to think in that mind space, like, yeah, it's fine. Nah.
That's how, yeah, to me, detention was just, that's what you did after school. But that's, I guess, looking back, I'm like, oh, I think I could have been better. Must have been fun to shoot though.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a blast. It was so much fun. Yeah, everyone was so amazing.
How did you, Veronica, how did you set out to capture those comedic moments? And then the day of, and I mean like practically speaking, how did you make sure the comedy made its way onto what you recorded?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up watching a lot of more like British or like small town comedies that are more about like the sort of more the visual and the more absurd but played straight kind of thing. So for us, we really played it that Olivia this is her world, this is what she's seeing, but because it's so absurd, that's where the comedy comes from. And then on the day, I mean, everyone on our cast and crew, like we had, I think 60 crew members and 30 cast, which is a lot, but so much fun. And everyone was just so behind the comedy of it. I think a lot of people came up to us after and were saying, you know, it's just so nice to work on something so fun. Like everyone was laughing every day.
Oh, good.
I bet, because we do, Ashley and I talk about this, is the submissions we get a lot of dark movies, like 80% or 90% are like these dark movies. And listen, so many of them are so well done, and we program those. But to me, comedy, when I see good comedy, I'm like, okay, that's what Canada's good at. See, and that's what you guys proved here today. Yeah, and it looked effortless.
It was so much fun, honestly. Like, we also just had such a large group of talented people. Like, so I work in lighting in the film industry, so a lot of our crew were from that, like actual DPs, actual gaffers, and a lot of, like, we had 2 camera teams of complete professional, amazing, talented people, and it was just all these wonderful people brought together to just make the film that much higher level than it would have on our own.
And are you working on anything next for directing, writing, Veronica?
Yeah, so I have a couple of projects that we're looking to get funding for in terms of shorts, and then also working on expanding this little movie into a feature. So hopefully we get to play in our bizarre little world a bit more.
I hope so, because I would love to see more from everybody that was associated with your movie. It was just so much fun to put that in our lineup. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Honor is ours. Honor is ours. So we're going to say goodbye in just a moment. Internet land, one sec. We still have one more crew to bring out here and ask a bunch of questions to. So until then, stick around, and I'm going to say goodbye to 20 minutes too late crowd. So see you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're back. We're back with the crew from Heart Bomb. Wow, guys, that was killer. That was so badass. I was watching it. I mean, I haven't watched it for a few months, like most of the movies here. So rewatch it today, and I was like, oh yeah, this did punch me in the face, and kept punching me in the face, and made me laugh while it was doing it. And then at the end, I was like, oh, there's a serious message here. Like, that's a lot of juggling that you had to do. So Remy, maybe you can start this off. And I mean, Eric, I know you wrote it. I'm just going to start with Eric, Remy. How do you take a screenplay as good as that and stay true to it and juggle everything he's trying to say so well?
But what helped is actually the idea of the script. The first draft was made by Alexander, which is not there with us today. But then we rewrote it, the four of us, many versions, and always improving and adding more twist and more
layers
stuff to it.
Yeah.
So it was a very big process of developing all together. So when we made it, it wasn't such a challenge for me to stay true to what was the project, because I was in the center of brainstorming it. So.
Oh, okay. So Mark and Eric, you guys were with the other two the entire time, like from like draft 2 kind of thing?
Yeah. That's when we came in, and then literally we had like the TV you see here. We put right like there. The script there. We were 4 in the room, and we were writing like jokes, riffing off. Yeah.
When the line was not funny enough, we were trying to get something better always.
Oh my! That must have been so fun.
Yeah.
That must have been like lots of.
It was very freeing because we didn't have any expectations about what we wanted this movie to be, except we wanted to have fun doing it, and we wanted it to be as loose and very rhythmic and very lots of things happen and no break at all, and that was the goal. Yeah.
Definitely, and that really did come across, because Ashley and I were talking about this again just the other day about how it starts and then you go forward in your seat and you don't stop and you don't realize you've been leaning forward until it's over and you're like, oh, that's what it was about. Because it's a very serious message too, the workplace safety, especially for actors, for example, but I won't even say especially for anybody in any workplace situation being asked to do something dangerous. I mean, that to me should be a serious film, but you guys are like, no, let's fuck around a bit. Right?
I think we were more focusing on the aspect of being of the integrity of doing a job you don't really want to do just for fame and money versus what really pleases you to do but doesn't provide as much. So that was the main dilemma for us, for that comedian who preferred theater but that doesn't pay the rent for him and his future baby. And so but there is also the safety aspect, which makes him at risk. So just to put another layer of
meaning
at stake and meaning of.
Absolutely. And then yes, what you're talking about too, that was that other layer that I'm like, oh, because I mean the workplace safety is obvious, that's almost even more of a plot thing, but definitely informs the whole, what's true to his heart and is it worth it, right? Absolutely. And so that was so much fun and so well put together. There were so many cues from other action movies and comedies that I've seen. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, because I could definitely be both. I saw a lot of Edgar Wright in there, for example, like Shaun of the Dead kind of, very visual camera movements and sight gags and all that. What were some of your influences that you think crept in there, whether conscious or not, when you're writing it or filming it?
Of course, I have forgot his name, but the director you just mentioned is someone that is very interesting for me. Is his relation to comedy, very rhythmic and very visual. But also there's a lot of like Eric is wearing the Duck Row T-shirt that he was wearing in the film as well. And that was also a reference for us.
Yeah, all those dumb action movies like
80s, 90s.
You have a bit of Crank in there. You have a bit of
yes,
right. Because of the
and
also
art.
Yeah.
Darkman. There's kind of from Sam Raimi because again,
yeah, it's really a big mix, a big meal. Yeah.
Deliverance.
Some John Borman as well in there.
You all clearly really like working together, and you seem like you're still friends.
Yeah.
Are there any plans to collaborate again? Are you working maybe on a feature version of this, or
not on this?
Something else we can look forward to?
Yeah.
But we're writing right now a movie. It's a
horror movie.
Yeah, because with Hard Bomb we went in really into, like, for Raimi it was really into comedy, but like he says, sometimes we went in the directing, there's also kind of a bit of irony, and so he wanted to maybe put comedy aside. So we're working on a horror movie, but with pretty much no comedy. So.
Yeah. Really serious. So we're trying to make to get some thrills for once. Usually we write comedy, but now we're trying to do something that's quote unquote more serious. But hopefully it's going to be just as fun and entertaining as this was.
I think it will be. No, but it's just that, like I said, it's that irony always when you do comedy. It's like you're never taking the shots and the acting and the characters seriously. There's always a layer of
distance,
judgment, and I wanted to put that aside for that movie and just really go all into the suspense and the thrill.
Cool. Well, we're looking forward.
Not funny at all.
No, I'm sure there won't even be one joke in there. You guys seem like a really serious and very cerebral. Yeah, it's all about. Listen, I also want to bring something up too. Just the look of it. It just looked fantastic, and considering how many wildly different elements there were in scenes, like set scenes and all that. The cinematography totally tied that together. Like it was incredible. Can you speak a little bit about your DOP?
It's François Messiero, his name. He worked a lot with Denis Côté.
Oh.
I worked with him also on another short film, Petit Frère, that had a pretty good run. And I really like working with him, and he was very good with this movie. We had, like you said, we had all those very different looks that we wanted to do, but we knew that from the beginning. So it's a bit, I think the cartoonish side of it helps putting all of them together, because even if they're very different, it's not really cartoonish, but it's not subtle. It's really in your face.
It's not subtle. It just punches you in the face and keeps punching you.
Yeah.
You just want more. So, guys, thank you so much. Thanks so much. It was
our pleasure.
Thanks to you.
So much fun. So much fun programming that one and seeing that one. We're really looking forward to anything you guys do in the future. So please think of the Canadian Film Fest if you're looking for a festival for anything else in the future.
We will.
Thanks for having us.
Cool.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys. It's absolutely our pleasure having you guys here. So that's the last Q&A segment of the Shorts program this day. We do have another Shorts program next week, and we have a movie tonight and Thursday, Friday as well. So lots of industry series stuff. Everybody out there, please check it all out. Until then, I'm going to say goodbye to the Heart Bomb crew.
Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Wendy Potonsky, and I'm the managing partner and owner of Retake Furniture Rentals. Retake is once again a proud supporter of the Canadian Film Festival and is working to contribute to the Canadian film and TV industry by making it an easy and sustainable place to do business. Retake understands the importance of set design and the dynamic nature of the film and TV industry, which is why we created a company to specifically support Canadian filmmakers. Retake provides sustainable short and long-term furniture rental options to meet production schedules and product needs. Our in-house upholstery services can tailor our product to meet your set design requirements and match your color schemes. We use sustainable approaches to minimize product going to landfill when you no longer need the furniture on your set. Retake can also assist you in setting up your office with sustainable alternatives to keep your team working safely as we all head back to work during this unprecedented time. Our goal is to help you create memorable sets. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy the films and shorts at this year's Canadian Film Festival.